Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're all doing good and well. So it's time for a Dark Horse Discs double feature episode because we're catching up. We missed one out a couple of weeks ago. So we've got two albums we're talking about. And first up, we're talking about Evanescence 2011 self-titled album. And just a couple of interesting facts, Rock of All Ages style first. So this is the first time we're covering an album that came out in 2011 on the series. I believe there's not been an album that came out that year so far on the series, which is the first interesting thing. The second thing is both bands we're covering in this double feature actually toured together, which I didn't even know. They toured together on a Worlds Collide tour towards the end of 2022. So Evanescence and Within Temptation both toured together as well. So I found that interesting. So we're doing the usual three rounds for this episode. We're doing first impressions first. Then our second round is our three favourite tracks. And then the final round is why we think it's a dark horse and where we'd rank it, in this case, in the Evanescence catalogue. I'm joined by the usual Dark Horse crew for this particular episode, working my way around the screen clockwise. We've got Rock of All Ages, we've got Brady Fugel, got JC Rock and Meta Reviews, and of course, last but by no means least, Hector Children on a Couch with the cushion. But this album, I wouldn't say is as much a sleeper as perhaps the Exodus one, right?
I
All
haven't
right.
heard the Exodus album, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. All right. So let's start things off. I think we'll do. So there's a kind of a bit of a joint choice because I suggested Evanescence. I think originally I was thinking The Bitter Truth, but then Brady suggested what actually I've then thought that's a better record to do for this series, which is the self-titled. So Brady, shall we start with you for your first impressions for this one?
Yeah, so some of you may not expect this, but I actually really, really love this album. This was like I haven't listened to it in a while, so I'm kind of glad I get to revisit it for this recording. But this is an album that I kind of like grew up on. It released in 2011, which was like a very crucial year for me because like I was reaching like middle school age, and this was like right around the time my parents got divorced. So I was listening to this like this is some kind of like prophecy foretold. I was listening to this with my dad. My dad showed me this album after the divorce. So maybe that makes it divorced dad rock. I don't know. But it quite literally is that's how I discovered it through my dad. So it's an album that is very nostalgic to me because it reminds me of when I was a kid and I still really love it. I'll touch on my thoughts in future rounds, but yeah, it's when Tom suggested Evanescence and the original album was going to be The Bitter Truth, I think, like you said, and I was like, I just had I saw that I'm like, oh, I really think like I gotta. It's worth saying we got to do this self-titled one because I think this is the more underrated one too, just because
Yeah.
it was the third album and then The Bitter Truth that came after like their big hiatus.
Yeah.
But I mean that
Didn't they have synthesis?
synthesis,
Yeah.
yeah, that synthesis.
Census
I don't
too.
know. I wasn't sure if that like ever counts as like an album because it's like it's a few original tracks and then it's mostly like reworkings. But they did have that I think in like 2017,
Yeah.
2018. But no, I really enjoyed this album and I was happy to come back and revisit it. So yeah, that's pretty much my first impressions.
Awesome. Thanks, Brady. JC.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know about this when it came out. I knew about the first two albums. I was a fan of the first two, but 2011, for me again, it was kind of a weird year for me because I was just living in Mexico. I moved to Mexico from the U.S. in 2010, so this one came out about a year after moving out of the U.S. So I wasn't really paying much attention to new music at that time, or I was paying attention to whatever was popular in Mexico. But so I didn't listen to this. I might have listened to it like once or twice before, but I don't remember it that much. But upon first listen, I liked it. I thought it was just a solid like Evanescence album. I thought it just had some pretty good songs. Now I didn't recognize any of the singles. I don't know how popular they were in the U.S. or worldwide, but I didn't recognize any of the singles. I liked the singles, but there wasn't anything recognizable. But in general, I thought it was a solid album, just a good Evanescence album, just well-rounded, lots of different styles, and there were ballads, some harder tracks, and some leaning towards symphonic metal. So I thought it was a good album overall. Mm.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, Hector, do you think of
Yeah.
this?
Also, so I actually did buy this when it came out, and at the time, I used to write for a blog here in Puerto Rico, so I did review this album when it came out, and actually, I think this album is better than their second album, to be honest. Because first, it had been a long time from the second album to this 2006 to 2011, so a few years had passed, and I remember it came out and. Uh, I remember the first single was "What You Want." I remember listening to it. I felt like, yeah, this sounds interesting. So, and also when this album came out the next year, Evanescence actually came to play to Puerto Rico for the first time. They came a year out later, but I didn't go. I went to this one when they came, and yeah, it was a good concert. They played a lot from this album, and obviously a lot from the first album. But yes, it's the type of album like I did remember, and I remember that it's the album cover is just a simple Evanescence. It doesn't say much, so it came out. A lot of people maybe weren't expecting the band to come out again, so it was a pleasant surprise. I hadn't listened to this album in a while, but I did remember it. So when you said let's do this one, I think I agree with Brady that this is a better one than the bitter pill or whatever that album is called. Uh,
Yep.
and to be honest, this is a better album than the bitter pill as well. But now, after Brady's touching story, I wish Brady's dad would have been with us for this episode. That would have been interesting.
He probably would have loved that actually. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I see that introduced him to cool music. My parents forced me to listen to crap. No, so, some good things, but mostly crap in my opinion. But they think what I listen to is crap, so there you go. But those were my first impressions.
Yeah, that is a cool thing if your dad introduces you to a band like this. Yeah, definitely. Rocco.
way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, Tom and I made a video about Evanescence on
Yes.
my channel. I admit I've gotten better at editing since then, albeit very slightly. So I haven't gone back to it in a while. But we did talk about the self-titled album a little. I think Tom said that What You Want was like an ode to the fans.
Yeah, as I remember, I feel like um, she was feeling a little bit more liberated, Amy Lee, for this album than Open Door and Fallen. So it was for her, it was like a bit more of a tribute to the fans. Whereas I think
Yeah.
she wasn't there a bit of a change with the label as well for this one. I
Probably.
think yeah,
I would have to check, but
Yes,
oh,
no, it was with Wind Up Records.
that's right.
Oh, and
that
the
makes
producer was Nick Raskulinecz.
mhm,
Okay.
nice.
There we go.
So, for this recording, I actually listened to the deluxe edition. That's 12 songs and four bonus tracks for a total of 16. And this might be a hot take, but there is a not insignificant amount of filler on the album. Um, I made like an alternate track list. It's I took out six of the 16 songs. I made just a 10 song album at 37 and a half minutes, and that version of the album is really great. But since I assume we're only talking about like the actual original standard track listing, um, there are good songs, but some are more substantial than others. I would say this is a decent album, but I'll say more in like my final thoughts.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I guess did you like the deluxe more or less?
I liked some of the deluxe track. I'll say this. I liked some of the deluxe tracks more than a lot of the tracks on the standard listing.
Yeah, cool.
Like there's some fantastic like I think I talked about this with Brady. The bonus track Disappear is amazing. And I think they did a version of that for Synthesis.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, so my first impression of this was, I mean, it was a while back to be honest, and also I think I didn't really know the album particularly well, in all honesty. I think I knew the singles, but not really the full record until properly digging into it and diving into it for the episode we did on Rock of All Ages, which I think was about 3 years ago, because it surprised me. Because I went back to that to see what I said then, because I was interested. I was thinking, am I going to be saying consistently the same thing about this album or the songs that I said on that? Where I think we were diving more into the singles from the band. So um, I think I like this more this time round than any other time in preparation for this episode, more this time round than any other time of having listened to this album, which is kind of interesting. Maybe I'm noticing the melodies a little bit more, and what Amy Lee is kind of, singing. When we come to the favorite tracks, that might make a little bit more sense, because I feel that the highlights of this record are like actually kind of growers for me, or have been growers. And yeah, I feel like doing that episode with Rocco was also interesting to dive a little bit more into the background to the record, and how for Amy Lee it was a bit more liberating, to have a bit more freedom, I think, with the creative process than she'd felt she'd had before. And yeah, the fans, I think, quite like this album as well. I mean, looking at the comments in the various videos on YouTube for the singles um, and the other songs, it looks like this is quite a popular album amongst them. Critically, I think it was pretty well received too. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the second round and back to Brady for your three favorite songs.
Yeah, so this was kind of difficult for me to pick three favorite songs from this record. They all have their strengths, and I should preface by saying I purposely am choosing three tracks from the main cut of the album. I'm not choosing the B-sides, just because for one, it's a little bit easier to limit myself than instead of 16 options to choose from, I have 12. So I did that on purpose. I will shut out the B-sides in the next round, though. My first pick I'm going to give to the track two, Made of Stone. This is a track that right away, like one of my favorite aspects about this album is just it's a very like dark, like moody album, and I love that in this style of music. And Made of Stone is a great instance of that. I mean, right away with that main riff, it's got like those kind of keys that come in the background, and then the chorus. It's just a very like moody track, but it still has like an energy to it, which I like. Track and then the next one, my next pick, I'm going to give to the next track actually, the Change, track three. This is another one that's like a bit more laid back, but it starts out like more like rather kind of somber, just in Amy's vocals, and then the chorus. Like it's really impressive how like the band could pull off essentially a chorus of full on like onomatopoeia, if I want to call it that. Like just how she's pretty much just doing vocal inflections before she actually goes into the actual lyrics. So I thought that was very well executed, and that's not normally something I'm into that much, but it works really well on this song. And then my third pick, and probably my favorite track on here, is Never Go Back. I love the riffing on this one. I was trying to like years ago. I recorded actually an instrumental cover of this song, just all the instruments, and I wanted to. My buddy who lives in Wisconsin, his girlfriend's a vocalist, and I was trying to get and he plays keyboards. So I was gonna try and have both of them come on to finish the song, and we just never did it. So that's the instrumental version cover of this song is sitting on my hard drive somewhere. But I
Oh,
love
wow.
the track. I love the riffing in it. That bridge is maybe my favorite part of the whole album. When it breaks down to like those keys, it's just this piano part, and it's such like an eerie like and moody part. So there's a lot of different tracks I could have chose for my top three, but as of right now, I'm going with those three.
Could it still happen, the Never Go Back performance, do you
Yeah,
think?
I think so. Yeah, next time I'm up there, I'm gonna see. So yeah, I think so. I would have to redo it because that was like years ago, and I've just my production skills have gotten a lot better since then. So I'll probably and my playing skills. So I'll probably have to redo at least the guitars. But yeah, I would like to see that happen. So
Or
hopefully.
it could be an mental reinterpretation.
That would be very interesting. Make that into an Omentor song. That'd be interesting. Yeah, just scream all of it. Maybe it's not a bad idea actually. Maybe I'll do a
Experiment, see how it comes out.
yeah, do like an Omentor covers EP of songs that you wouldn't think would be in that style. So maybe it's not a bad idea.
All right, JC, your three favorites.
Okay, I'm picking three tracks, non-singles, and yeah, I'm glad I'm kind of going into this as a newcomer because I don't really have any like bias towards like knowing songs. But my first one, track number 8, I believe, called "Sick." I thought it was just a typical Evanescence song. I thought it sounded like something that could have been on their first album, Fallen. It had that new metal sound, but also had symphonic metal elements. It was slow at times, but then there are other parts where they sped up. And I like the chorus and has some great hooks. So I like that one. Excuse me. Excuse me. Next one, End of the Dream. Another one of the heavier songs. I like the bass guitar sound. Great hooks. It's memorable. Another one, classic Evanescence. Again, it goes back to that sound I remember from the Fallen album or the next one. And nice balance with the heavy and the symphonic sounds. And my third one is going to be the one I believe Brady mentioned, Never Go Back. Just great riffs. I think it's like maybe one of the heaviest riffs that I've heard from the band. Great bass guitar sound. Amy's vocals are, awesome as always, and I like the sound of it, the mix of instruments, the symphonic elements, the violins, the piano towards the end. I think it's just a very complete song. It just like has like a little bit of everything that they are. This probably should have been one of the singles, but I don't think it was. So anyway, those are my three. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Hector?
So I have a few different ones and a similar one. So I'm picking the song Oceans. I like it. I like Amy's vocals on it. Yeah, I think I like the more symphonic aspect of it. So I thought that was very epic. I also picked Sick because I love the chorus where she's like, sick of it all, sick of it all. And it's a little bit more aggressive. So I like that one. But I love My Heart is Broken. Probably it's because that's a great divorce that anthem.
Hector, you want to be my vocalist on this Never Go Back cover? That was pretty good.
Thank you, man. I'll be honored. So people will be like, and he dares to review. But yeah, My Heart is Broken is great, and I got to listen to that song live because she played that one. But it's a funny story. When she played that song live at the beginning, I think it was that one. She made a mistake on the piano at first, and she did like, and she put like a face, and she's like, "Sorry, I gotta start the song again." Like it was kind of hilarious that she played the wrong key, and everyone noticed. But instead of being embarrassed, she joked about it, and then she played it correctly. So, but yeah, I just think it's a great power ballad, and so that's why I'm picking it. But I also had a hard time picking a lot of songs here because I also Made of Stone, like The Other Side. There's some great songs here. So yes, those are my picks.
Awesome. Then we're going to see a few common ones maybe when it comes to me. Rocco.
I'm gonna actually start with two honorable mentions. I have one of the bonus tracks as in my top three, but I don't think that's entirely fair. So I'm just gonna pick two bonus tracks as honorable mentions.
Go for it.
Disappear and Secret Door.
Yeah.
Amazing tracks. Go listen to them if you haven't heard them already. But my third favorite on the actual album is a song that no one's mentioned yet. Erase This. Uh, Very good song. Uh, and then I also picked Never Go Back. Uh, Absolute banger. Could have been a single. I don't know why it wasn't. And then might be a basic pick, but I think the best song on the album is What You Want. That's just a really catchy song.
Yeah, it's very catchy.
Yeah. So those are my picks.
Awesome. So yeah, I think I've possibly got one that hasn't been picked yet in my list this time. So that's interesting. So yeah, Made of Stone. It's come up a few times. I love that song. A lot of attitude, really solid chorus. Love the guitar solo as well in it too that's used. And there's a horror connection. Of course, had to be a horror. I had to spot the horror connection with this one, which I didn't realize because I've seen the film Underworld Awakening. But apparently, Made of Stone is played in the end credits. I'm gonna have to watch that again because I'm, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of the Underworld films, but I like them. They're kind of mindless fun, right? They're kind of mindless fun. Vampires and werewolves, Kate Beckinsale, um, and yeah, that song appears in the credits, so I will have to recheck that out. A song that has been mentioned is Lost in Paradise. Um, I think this is an amazing ballad, to be honest. I really do. I think Amy hits some amazing highs. When she sings Run Away, absolute spine-tingling moment for me. Love those, love that. Just, I mean, it's Amy Lee, right? So, she's just doing what she does best, but when she does what she does best, it just sounds amazing. And then Erase This, which I think Rocco just picked, right? That was a
Yeah,
good
I,
pick.
I saw you do a little dance, and I thought, oh, so
Yeah.
someone else did pick this too.
I gave it away, really, didn't I? I should
Yeah.
erase that from the video so it's not giving away.
No, no, you're good.
Yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah, so those are my three picks. So let's do the final round, which is going to be why we think the album is a dark horse and where we'd rank it. So back to Brady.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I think this is their best album. I absolutely love this
Ooh.
record. I know a lot of people really like Fallen, but I would put this above Fallen. Maybe that's just because the songs on Fallen are so freaking overplayed at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's true. They're played to
maybe,
death.
but I just front to back, I love every song on here, even the B-sides, even the deluxe edition. Like Rocco Shout Out Disappear, I love that track as well. That's total. I think that probably should have been on the main cut. This whole thing
Could
should have
not
just
agree more.
I think this whole thing should have just been like the main cut because I think 16 tracks, like it's not that long, and even like, and I think the songs are just all worthy of that status. A few more I'll shout out here. I got the track listing right here. Like What You Want, like it's mentioned, a really catchy song. My Heart Is Broken is awesome, very dramatic, climactic song, especially when that chorus hits. Erase This has that piano intro that I really like, and Lost in Paradise. That I almost picked that. I'm not sure if anybody has read the original Frankenstein novel, but the lyrics of this song, like, come bring that to mind for me. That I've always made that connection for some reason.
Another horror
I, I,
connection.
I have heard an audiobook of the Frankenstein novel, and it is absolutely not what I expected. You expect like monsters, but it's like
Yeah,
kind of like dry, like British stuff.
and it's like, oh, it's very like dark, and it's very it's like it's an
Oh,
emotional.
it has those moments, sure.
Yeah, so like
But like the monster is well, monster is like yellow and he's like very well read.
uh-huh.
They put Jacob Elordi, like Frankenstein. I'm so sexy. I
Was that him or Christian Bale?
don't know. All my accents suck.
Well, yeah. So Lost in Paradise. I've always made that connection, but even aside from that, it's just a great song. I love the way it just ascends and moves throughout. End of the Dream, super groovy track. Sick is very moody, maybe the darkest song of the album too. I love Oceans as well. I think Hector said, like the symphonic elements in this track are great, and the synth elements that come in right away. It's got one of the catchiest choruses on the record. Another B side that hasn't been mentioned yet is New Way to Bleed. That's another one that's very moody, and it also has a very catchy chorus that I like. And the two like just more straightforward ballads on here are great too. Secret Door has like that kind of ominous like piano thing going to it, and then Swimming Home is very like synthetic, but I think it works really well. And then
Dude,
yeah,
I am so sad that no one mentioned Swimming Home yet.
yeah, I can
That was an honorable mention for me. I
yeah.
almost did. Yeah.
I mean, we still like. I think it says a lot that among all of us, we still almost picked every track on here. Like, I think the only one that nobody picked was "Swimming Home." I think, and
Mm,
maybe the other side. But like between all of us, we're picking like the whole album basically. So like
yeah.
that says a lot about just how great this album is. So I think it's the best album, and I think maybe the only reason would be considered a dark horse is just because it came after the first two. I mean, Fallen was so massively successful. And then Open Door was successful too, but like not quite as much. And then this was like kind of just that third album that kind of they were up here. They started way up here, and that's always a tough spot for a band.
Mm.
So when they start way up here and like it's kind of moving down. Like I think this is their best album personally, but just given when it came out, 8 years after 9 years after the original album, I think.
No, 8.
Was it 8? Was it 2? Yeah, 2003. Yeah, 8 years. That it makes sense that this album might be underrated over time, but yeah, I think it's the best album, and I would encourage like anybody to listen to it if you haven't given it a fair chance. So yeah, that's those are my final impressions of this album.
Awesome. There's a new Dark Horse syndrome in here somewhere. What we call
Yeah,
it, off-peak syndrome, something like that.
Soft Peak. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds like my season ticket to traveling into work. Anyway, JC.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I was only able to listen to this. I was able to listen to it twice, and I thought it was just a very good album. I guess I would have to listen to all the other ones in order to rank them properly. I know Fallen, that's the one where it has all the recognizable songs, and that was the big one. I don't know. I think that this one just wasn't really maybe as well known because I don't know. I mean, like I said before, I wasn't living in the US at the time. I remember Fallen when I came out, the songs were on the radio all the time. The second album, The Open Door, came out. There was only one single called, I think it's called Call Me When I'm Sober. That was on the radio all the
Oh, no, no,
time.
that had other singles, but yeah, Call Me When You're Sober was a big single.
It was Lithium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a
Um,
Nirvana cover, shockingly.
Oh, no,
yeah. Well, yeah, from that album, I only remember Call Me When You're Sober. I'll probably know Lithium if I listen to it again. I probably recognize it. But so that one had a few singles. It wasn't as big as Fallen. And I guess this one came out, I guess it came out, was it 5 years later, which I guess for the 2000s was kind of a long time because I think bands were turning around a little faster back then. And I don't know, maybe it didn't really get the attention. I think it could if I like listened to all the albums again and I did a proper ranking. I think it would definitely be in the top three, or that's if I counted the five albums. So I mean, it might be better than the Open Door. I would have to like re-listen, but I think it's just a good, solid album, and I think it's just it got overlooked just because of the time it came out as well. I think it was like 2011. There was like this type of music might not have been on the radio as much. So I don't know. Yeah, those are my final thoughts. Yeah,
Thanks, JC.
yeah.
Hexen.
okay. So if I rank this album, obviously, I still think Falling is their best album. And it's because they have one song at the end called Whisper, where they're opening a door to hell. I mean,
And
that's
then their next album was called The Open Door.
the one that goes, "That's a bit goose." I just love that part, the evil part at the end. And I have that one on vinyl, the Fallen one. I think I did the 20th anniversary with Señorita Sabrosura, and we showed
I was thinking you might have done that. Yeah, in the back of my mind. When did you do that? Was that a few years back?
and, we showed pictures of Señorita
Yeah.
Sabrosura when she wore that Hot Topic, and I showed pictures of me on my emo face and stuff like that because we thought it would be funny to show us like what we look like when that came out. But uh, after saying this is to me their second best album. Uh, like Fallen just wins it a little bit by me. I also think it's the nostalgic factor. That album when it came out was huge, and I played it so much. But I agree with Brady. Some songs have been so overplayed. But this album is number two. Then three, I would say The Open Door. Then The Bitter Truth, and that's Synthesis, whatever. That's it. That's at the bottom. Uh, but yes, I think this is a dark horse because it came out 6 years after the Open Door, and probably a lot of people didn't care about Evanescence at that time. I remember when Evanescence came, people were, and this is people were saying, "Oh, they're the best, most symphonic thing." And at that time, I always said, "Listen to Lacuna Coil," because people said that Lacuna Coil did it first. And to this day, I gotta be honest, Lacuna Coil is a better band. Even like consist Christina Scavia. Even though I love Evanescence, I always thought that I found it like kind of like everyone's like, oh, they're doing something pretty, like no, there's a lot of bands. So Lacuna Coil people. But yes, this album to me, it's their second best album, and I think it's a dark horse because a lot of people probably had written the band off, but it showed. I think this band takes a long time because I've heard rumors that Amy Lee is a piece of work to work. So that's a nice way of not saying the B word. But yeah, it has to be true because they take a lot of time doing this style of music. And come on, this is like I mentioned, Lacuna Coil. Lacuna Coil has like more albums than them. Yes, some of them are not that great. Are but Christina Scavia always shines. But yes, they take a long time with records and
Yeah.
but and I just think, and I also think that the best band that they had was when she was with Ben Moody on guitars. If you haven't heard it, Ben Moody and the band did an album. They had a band called We Are the Fallen, which was the rest of the band with another singer, and they released that I think a few years later after that album. And they only had one album, but it's a pretty interesting album. It's basically like an FU to Amy Lee. So check that one out. So that's what I believe this one is a dark horse because it came out after the success, and people probably were like, eh. But I remember that I liked it when it came out, and I still think it's their second best album.
Some interesting talking points there. I think Lacuna Coil have, I mean, definitely they've produced more. And yeah, I think they've actually probably got three or four Dark Horse albums as well. I don't know
Yeah.
about the Amy Lee stuff too much and the inner workings of the band and sort of maybe the internal kind of band politics and stuff like that. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff to talk about there. Rocco.
I think the self-titled is a dark horse because times just changed. As we have said, this was 5 years after the open door. So even though there are some really good songs on here, a lot of people just moved on to other bands and other styles of music. I admit I haven't listened to an Evanescence album in full since The Bitter Truth in 2021. So before I can do an Evanescence ranking, I'd have to go back to The Bitter Truth, the first two albums, and Synthesis if we're counting it. But on its
Yes.
own merits, my ultimate impression is the self-titled is a decent album with some filler that I think keeps it from being great. I'm not gonna say anything on here is atrocious, but there are definitely songs I like more than others.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, for me, I think in terms of ranking this one, it's about halfway up. I mean, since this, if I'm going to include that, would probably be my least favorite one. Just because I mean those kind of albums that are sort of almost more compilation than they are originals. I'm never likely to rank those very highly unless they're absolutely amazing. Um, I'm actually a little bit torn though because I personally really liked the Bitter Truth a lot. So I've been thinking, would I put the Bitter Truth fourth or this one fourth? But I think the Bitter Truth, I think I've grown to like this one maybe the same or slightly better. So given that what I said earlier, this has grown on me a lot, particularly since preparing for this. I think maybe the Bitter Truth would currently fall fourth, but I do actually really like the Bitter Truth. I think that as although that's one is pretty well appreciated, I think in retrospect, and this one is the less appreciated one. I still enjoy it. And then probably for me, maybe the Open Door too. I really love the Open Door. And number one, Fallen. I will agree. I mean, Bring Me to Life is the only song I'm really sick of, though. I love My Immortal still. I love Going Under. Going Under is an awesome song. I remember absolutely, playing that track to death myself back in the day and still enjoy it. So yeah, even as overplayed as those singles are, still love them. So yeah, and in terms of Dark Horse, I think we've covered it. I think you guys have covered it quite well. It is partly it's kind of in this sort of middle era a little bit, but also as Brady's touched on, the first couple of albums, really they're big albums, they're commercial kind of albums. And by the early 2010s, that whole era of bands, which Evanescence you can throw in with, even though they didn't like the new metal label, they're kind of in that era. So by 2010, 2011, who was really listening to Evanescence? I know I can put my hand up and say I wasn't listening to them in 2011, 2012, and so on. So I feel that it's just kind of like they weren't catching the audience then, and it just kind of wasn't off, like I say, off peak syndrome. That's another time. I'm gonna have to write these down, all these dark horse syndromes that we're coming up with. But yeah, so we're now going to do, because JC is leaving us for the next episode, we're going to do a quick what's coming up next on the channels. So do you want to go first, Brady? What's coming up on your channel?
So my next review will probably be Poison the Well. I listened to that Monstrosity album and I'm like, should I review it? Should I review it? I'm like, we'll see. So but I think I'll probably skip it and Poison the Well will be my next review. So that should be up. I'm actually going out of town. I'm leaving like right after we're done with this recording. I'm making a 6-hour drive up north to
Oh,
Minnesota.
wow.
Yeah.
Have you got some good music for that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll probably listen to this album actually because like I remember making this my family up there. I remember making this drive when I was a kid and like my dad played this album up there. So I'm like I'm gonna listen to this album when I'm up there. So it was good timing. Um,
I hope you took out a bank loan for when you need to, get gas.
yeah, seriously, yeah. Um, but yeah, so yeah, Poison the Will be my next review. Deeper Dives episode 5 will premiere in about 2 weeks. It'll be Pop Evil. I talked about that with Pirate, Josh the Pirate novelist.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode to do. Aside from that, I do have another Alter Bridge video planned. It's going to be the best Alter Bridge ballads. So that will be hopefully sometime early next week. That one or Poison the Well will be my next upload. I'm not sure which one yet. And then aside from that, my next review, after Poison the Well, I'm not too sure. So I think it might end up just being an album that I see and be like, oh, I should check this out and do it. So I don't have a whole lot planned right now, honestly. Those are pretty much the only few things. And then obviously aside from that, just I got 2 more Deeper Dives episodes scheduled to upload. JC and I talk System of a Down. That'll be episode 6. And then Lorenzo and I just talk Mastodon, which will be episode 7. So
Oh, cool.
yeah. So those will be. I got the next 3 episodes, I guess, lined up. So that'll be the next 6 weeks worth of Deeper Dives, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, that's about it as far as my channel.
Great stuff. JC, what's coming up next?
Okay, so yeah, I have well, my most recent upload was my new metal releases for the weekend. I try to cover lots of underground bands, and I'll do short reviews of maybe albums that I didn't do a full review because I did the full review for the Exodus album. And maybe next weekend, I think I'm looking forward to Black Label Society. I'll probably review that new one.
Have
And
they
also
got a
my
new one?
series, discovering metal bands from Argentina. I think my next episode is going to be part 7. It just has a high demand, so I'm just going to keep making them. So, and plus I have a big list of recommendations because a lot of people have given me so many different bands. There's so many different bands from Argentina, so I'm going to be covering them. And in the meantime, I do anniversary reviews. I don't have my list in front of me, but these are more classic albums that are mostly older stuff. Classic albums from the 80s or 70s mostly. So, yeah, I try to keep busy. So that's what I have coming up. Yeah.
I didn't realize Black Label Society have got a new album coming out, have they? I didn't even realize that.
I believe so. It's next weekend. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I might check that out. All right. Cheers, JC. Hector, what's coming up on the couch?
Well, first of all, Brady, is that episode with Lorenzo 3 hours long?
It's about an hour and a half. So it's I mentioned this to Tom in a comment the other day. I'm at a perfect 3-way tie for the longest episode because my buddy Ryan and I talked Day to Remember. That was an hour 28 minutes. Tom and I talked Kill Switch. It was also an hour 28 minutes. Me and Lorenzo talked Mastodon, also an hour and 28 minutes. So they're all like the exact. They're all an
That's
hour.
weird.
And 28 minutes. Exactly. They're totally by coincidence.
The first one for Deftones was like an hour, but they have less albums, and it was the
Yeah.
first. So, but I'm like, wow. Uh,
Yeah, we probably could have talked more about it, but it was like the first episode, you know. So I think I was still working things out, but yeah.
It was the first episode. So, coming up for like first of all, this thank you for everyone that liked the Exodus review. And you mentioned Black Label Society. I've never been to them, so this might come up again for for Black Label Society. I don't know if I know. I need to review. I wanna my next reviews are Poison the Well, which I probably will try to do sometime tonight. And I gotta talk about the new Neurosis, which basically came out this Friday. I got the promo for it, and I got sent the promo, and I looked at it. I'm like, it says March 20. I'm like, but that's today. So I was quite convinced. And also this weekend. Right now, as we are speaking, there's a new interview with this like black metal band from Holland called Dude Swens, which was quite interesting. So that's up. And uh, if you want to listen to a great album, listen to Hoobastank. No, I'm kidding. It's not bad for the last Hoobastank album, which is out now. But probably for next week, I don't know, Black Label Society, there's an album next week that comes out. What's this name of this Hell something? This dude that plays Hell
Oh,
River.
Hell
The new
River. I
Hell,
was
Hellripper.
thinking that one as well.
the
Yeah.
new Hell River album is
Read
out
that.
next week. I'm looking forward to that one because the last one was pretty good. So
Yeah.
that's what I picked up on my channel.
Okay, Rocco.
Uh, so I'm done with uploading videos for the month.
Okay.
I'll have stuff coming out in April. Uh, and then coming up soon, I'm actually recording something with Chili. Uh, Planning to start a new series on my channel. I've told you guys about it in email, but I won't spoil anything out loud for the
Okay.
viewers.
Yeah.
But
Keep it secret.
yes, it is an idea that I think has a lot of potential, and I'm hoping it works out well.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I guess that leaves the Green Man. So actually, this episode will be out after the review has gone up, but next up on the channel at the time of recording this is the Catherine Pretty album review, which was an album I listened to whilst I was sick earlier last week.
That was a really good album.
Yeah, and that was a great antidote for my sickness at the time. And also having heard that the Hellripper have got a new album coming out, I might then review that because that's probably going to rip if the last album was anything to go by. Um, and possibly, if I remember rightly, Snail Mail has got a new album coming out very soon, and I'm quite a big fan of
Yes.
hers. So
I've met her. She is very nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I really
She's from my
enjoy.
home state, actually.
Ah, awesome. Awesome. So I will be checking that out when that comes out. Obviously, Dark Horse Discs is back with this double feature and future episodes. I think next on the roster, I need to double check this on my Excel spreadsheet, but I believe it's Limp Bizkit, Gold Cobra, which was a certain couch dude's choice. So that will look like that's going to be our next episode, that one.
Oh,
Um,
that one also came out in 2011.
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess the big episode of the week for me, which is what a lot of people check out my channel for, is this Symphonic Metal second album's tier list, which I will probably be recording after we've done these episodes for Dark Horse Discs, which is one I'm looking forward to doing. Some interesting thoughts on the Symphonic Metal second albums and one or two controversial ones from me. So yeah, that leaves us with everything for this episode. And thanks as always to my guests for joining me to doing this episode. I know we're a bit behind on Dark Horse Discs with my laptop issue with it running out of memory space. Brady coming to the rescue to record the end of that episode. So we still managed to get System of a Down sorted. Appropriate that that episode was maybe System of a Down because the system went down. Yeah, sorry, terrible jokes are going to finish now. I think we'll cut this one off before I tell any more really bad jokes. So yeah, thanks everyone everyone for joining me. Until next time on The Green Man, until in fact the second episode of this double feature, stick around this Tuesday for that. From me, it is bye for now.